Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. This video is the continuation of the last stages going into New World Order and the revelation of Antichrist, which means at this moment is the rapture, which means the rapture will happen at any second. Okay, let's get started. That's when the 3 religious conferences and the 3 political business conferences are simultaneously held. A grand measure of all forces will occur worldwide that will move the world in any desired direction. Then and only then will it be possible to build a combination temple, church, mosque in Jerusalem. Bill Lambert refused to say that this combination church building would be built on the Temple Mount, as I directly questioned him, but notes that the specific part of the New World Order plan called the New Jerusalem Covenant Project envisions the establishment of a combination religious Jerusalem, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Bill further stated that any purely political settlement in the Middle East would not by itself bring peace. In other words, a purely political settlement would leave the religious nature of the problem unsolved. Any permanent solution to the Middle East conflict would also have to see the religious portion of the problem solved. Once this religious problem is solved, then the power and influence of the Orthodox Jews in Israel would permanently decline. Note: New World Order planners are very concerned about the power and influence of the Orthodox Jews. This group is the special target of the Antichrist's deceptions as he goes about to convince them he is their Messiah. Then, when Antichrist begins his persecution, he will go after the Orthodox Jew the most ferociously. So, according to this information, the current peace plan from President Trump is not the real one that the Bible is talking about. It looks like the peace plan that the Bible indicates is this one that Bill he just mentioned here. Both the political and religious sides of the problem to be solved simultaneously. That is the peace plan, which is the Antichrist peace plan, and I think it's undercover right now. So the religious part started last year, the beginning of last year, which is right before Chinese New Year, and then up to this year, exactly 1 year. And then the political side, it was introduced to Israel by Obama in 2015, which is undercover right now. It's not revealed yet. And so I think when the chaos triggered the rapture, at the same time, Antichrist revealed himself and bring forth that political side of the peace plan, and then together with the false prophet to bring out the religious side of the peace plan. That's what my understanding is right now, because remember, the Bible is a cryptic book. You cannot read the Bible and understand the Bible on its surface. Everything is encrypted in hidden messages that we need to analyze, use our critical thinking to reveal the true meaning beyond the surface of the words. So that's what my understanding is right now, because there is all the deception. The impetus towards this type of settlement is made possible only because of a general fear of war. This fear of war must be maintained until the desired political and religious changes have been instituted. Note: Matthew 24:6 fulfilled. At the proper moment in history, the Pope will visit the combined Jewish, Christian, Muslim sector of Jerusalem to announce that all religions should be combined into one. This action will then finally break the Middle East logjam. Note: at this moment, the prophesied one world religious system under the false prophet will have been fulfilled. 3. Review of the establishment of the New World Order religion as espoused by the Alice A. Bailey books. What is occurring now at such a rapid pace was written by A.A.B. Bailey. Speaks to the spirit of peace, which is now invading humanity, on page 173 of her book. The externalization of hierarchy. The fusion of many minds into one directed activity is today of supreme importance. Unity of directed thoughts and purpose is the guarantee of inevitable and future success. The power of massed thought is omnipotent. The spirit of peace is hovering close to humanity, seeking opportunity to make his presence felt. The spirit of peace is not an abstract concept, but a potent individual wielding forces hitherto unfamiliar to our planet. Great forces are awaiting the hour when they can function as the liberators and the deliverers of mankind. But the door to their entrance must be opened by humanity itself, and it will be opened by a united act of the will, expressed through some formula of words and expressed in sound. It will be brought about by an activity performed simultaneously by all men and women of goodwill and by all the world aspirants and disciples. The door will not open unless the act of invocation is backed by the focused will. The directed determination of the man or the group who is using the suggested formula prayer or invocation is essential. Note: minutes before the Antichrist arises, some supernatural sound will be heard and supernaturally felt by everybody on the planet. Simultaneously, at no other moment in world history will so many people be impacted at once. This action is destined to get everyone looking around and upward as to what caused this sound. Then, with everyone's attention aroused, images of Antichrist will appear simultaneously over the entire earth, speaking to mankind, each in his own language. The signs and wonders will have begun. Energies want to flow from the hierarchy to earth to produce the physical manifestation of the Antichrist, but such flow can only occur when humanity raises its collective consciousness to be properly awakened receptors. At this point, I raised my hand to ask Mr. Lambert. You spoke earlier about the Pope going to Jerusalem. When Lord Maitreya makes his appearance, there will be 3 types of people. Number 1, those whose consciousness has been properly raised so they can readily accept him. Number 2, those whose consciousness has been raised somewhat but not so high that they can readily and immediately accept him, but they might be able to accept him after future enlightenment. Number 3, those who will never accept him. So here, remember, the Satanists, they always reverse everything. Good is evil, evil is good, right? So here's again. Number 3, those who will never accept him is us, the church, the born-again Christian, the church, the body of church that's going to be raptured out from here, because we raised our vibration so high that we will never get deceived by them. So technically they hated us, right? So here they just like label us as lower consciousness, but in fact we have raised our consciousness and vibration so high that they can never contain us. They can never fight against us. So they have no way to control us. The second one is middle level. They partly awoke and partly asleep. They in a process to, awaken themselves to see the world in the real light. This number one is they have been trying to use technology, MK Ultra, to lower people's vibration into what? Unity. Many minds into one directed activity, unity of directed thoughts and purpose. So, which means that will be easier for them to control the mass public because they all think alike, act alike. So they don't need to create another story to persuade some of them that think differently, right? And what they do using 5G, eventually 6G, and then right now they're using MK Ultra techniques via the entertainment industry, like let's say TV shows, the mainstream media, and music, movies, video games, etc. They use like symbolism, right? They eventually, technically, a lot of people already in this state is the lowest vibration, which means they are at the primal level. Whatever they say, they will follow. I continued. What responsibility do the leaders of the world's religions have toward those members of their flock who are of group number 2? Will they step forward to publicly urge group number 2 people to accept the Antichrist? Bill's answer was that the acceptance of the Antichrist was completely an individual affair, which is, again, they speaking in opposite, right? The acceptance of the Antichrist was completely what? A unity affair, the fusion of many minds into one directed activity. So he's trying to deceive people here, this guy. I then tried again to get Bill to state that one of the leaders of the world's religion would step forward to play the role of the biblical false prophet. I said, back to the Pope for a moment. Bill, you stated that at the right moment the Pope would go to Jerusalem. Surely the Pope is a proper receptor to the Antichrist? At this point, Bill nodded his head affirmatively that the Pope was a proper receptor to the Antichrist. This is the most direct acknowledgement by an influential person involved in the planning for the appearance of Antichrist that the current Pope is ready and waiting for the appearance of the Antichrist. This acknowledgement also points to the Roman Catholic Pope as the false prophet, because Bill stated very pointedly that the preparation for the New World Order religion was being paved by the ecumenical movement, which is being spearheaded by the Pope. Bill then explained that the fate of those members of Group 3, which is born-again Christian body of Christ, gonna be raptured out from here. Those whose personal consciousness was not now nor could ever be raised sufficiently to accept the Antichrist, which means their personal consciousness was not now nor could ever be lower their vibration to the level that is 0, that to accept the Antichrist. Bill likened them to a person who had spent his entire life in a totally darkened room. If a sudden intense light were to shine into this room, the person's eyes would not be able to endure the light. The person would try to flee the light and go into another room, which was dark. Persons of group number 3 will elect to leave for another room, which means our vibration is that high that they can no longer can control us and actually fear us. That we are the light of the world. We never fear the darkness in the world or the room that he mentioned. We are the light, so they cannot contain us. At this point, I raised my hand and asked, "How do these people do this, Bill? No one can simply declare his spirit to leave this world." "Do these people commit suicide?" Bill answered emphatically. "No." He said, "I do not know how it will happen, but these people will leave this dimension." After much thought, I have concluded that Bill is talking about the rapture of the church. He refused to say that these people will be killed, and we know the Bible teaches that Antichrist will not begin killing Christians until the midpoint of the Great Tribulation. But Bill is saying that the timing of the departure of the people of Group 3 is immediately after the appearance of the Antichrist, and the method of their leaving is mysteriously voluntary. I believe the guiding spirits of the New Age leaders have created this story as a means of explaining the worldwide rapture of the church. Thus, when the rapture occurs, people will not credit God and will continue being deceived. Okay, so this sequence here is a little bit different than the Bible. The Bible say immediately the church got raptured out from here. Immediately after that, the appearance of Antichrist, and claim that he did wonders and will take credit from this powerful event. Mr. Lambert continued with his seminar. DK, one of Alice Bailey's guiding spirits, has revealed that guiding spirits, which means demons or fallen angel. When the Antichrist comes forward, he will establish his throne on earth. However, the door where evil dwells must be kept shut. DK identifies this evil as being the lowest level of human nature, where we tap into our primal base nature, which is, again, they always speak in reverse. So these beings are us, that we have risen our vibration that so high that they fear us, and actually they can no longer control us. Instead of that, they just say we are the lowest level of human nature to make them feel better. In other words, this evil consists of the members of Group 3 whose consciousness has not and cannot be properly raised, so they can be proper receptors of the Antichrist, i.e. born-again Christians. Quoting from Alice Bailey's book, Esoteric Psychology, 1, Mr. Lambert revealed the mystery of healing dynamics. The working of the energy in the 7 rays will produce human healing. To facilitate this healing, the hierarchy has revealed scientific discoveries to mankind. At this point, I raised my hand to share that certain scientists had claimed they had received the inspiration for their inventions under the influence of a psychic dream. Quoting from my seminar notes, I mentioned Mr. Vogel of IBM, the developer of the oscilloscope, and I pointed out that Thomas Edison was a dedicated theosophist. Mr. Lambert did not disrupt these points, and he went on to explain that the electricity is a major life force. The life force of electricity is a combination of magnetism, electricity, and an unknown force. The entire universe is a manifestation of electricity power. Sometime at the end of this decade, the hierarchy is going to reveal a major new secret to human scientists concerning electricity. I was enthralled. In my wildest dreams, I could not have imagined receiving such direct confirmation of the concept that Satan has been interfering directly in the affairs of man during this century to reveal scientific secrets. This explains the sudden explosion of knowledge starting at the beginning of this century. In fact, as Bill continued to talk, I sensed that the New Age worships science as their god. Being more scientific specific, they worship the science of forces as their god, thus directly fulfilling Daniel's prophecy. Neither shall he, Antichrist, regard the God of his father, but in his estate shall be honored the God of forces. Daniel 11:37 to 38, King James. Mr. Lambert continued with his seminar. Number 4, a cashless society economy is coming and will solve all sorts of problems. Crime will disappear. Each household will have a computer with which to conduct all purchases. Computers are coming that are small enough to hold in your hand so that you can conduct small transactions. Paper boy or a teenager who cuts your lawn. Courses of computers are currently falling so that even people on welfare can afford one. Okay, so we are at this stage right now, cashless economy. We have been using credit card, debit card, and mobile payment, and shopping online, and a lot of people using smartphone, so that people on welfare, they can still afford the smartphone. Number 5, virtual reality is becoming a reality. Virtual reality is defined as mentally creating a reality which is so real that you can literally live within it for a time. This concept is being taught now in the college music program. My son is a music major in a Christian college, and he has heard of virtual reality, even though the college does not teach it. Virtual reality will be given tremendous impetus by computer gaming, Nintendo. A person will be able to slip a helmet on which will place him into an alternate reality as real as factual reality. In fact, discoveries are progressing which will allow this computer game to pick up an individual's brainwaves and project the type of reality visually within the helmet that the individual is conceiving in his brain. Does it sound supernatural? Is it? It is. It is from Satan. Number 6, UFOs and aliens are part of the New World Order. Okay, so the virtual reality, we are actually entering into the virtual reality. First of all, they introduce as computer game, so it's like a form of entertainment that get people to get used to it, so they will never fight against it. So no refusion, and this means this is called desensitized, and I'm sure they will use AI technology to make it the final stage. Number 6. UFOs and aliens are part of the New World Order. They are benevolent beings which will aid mankind in attaining the goal of becoming one humanity. They will appear at the proper time to enable mankind to make that quantum leap of collective consciousness when the Antichrist appears, which means they will use quantum science to lower everybody's vibration. And of course, some people are awake, and some of them semi-awake can never be lowered the vibration anymore because they achieve higher vibration, and there's no way they can control people that's awake. Number 7. Supernatural capabilities of the Antichrist. Then Mr. Lambert revealed that when Lord Maitreya appears, he will appear as different beings to different people. He will appear as a man to a man, and as a woman to a woman. He will appear as a white to a white, a black to a black, Indian to an Indian, etc. It makes no difference whether you are viewing him in person or on television. Thus, he will show that he is all things to all people. Probably the hologram technology. Another author has also indicated that his image will appear all over the nations of the earth simultaneously, and that he will speak each ethnic group in their own language. We know this is technologically possible with computer images being sent from ground to satellite and back down to earth. There will evidently be a mixing of supernatural phenomena and advanced technology when the staging of the Antichrist occurs. Of course, if Satan has deliberately revealed scientific secrets to man, as New Agers claim, we can say that both the supernatural phenomena and scientific technology are the work of Satan. Finally, a sound will be heard worldwide which will herald the coming of the Antichrist. Prompted by this sound, people will be aware of his coming on 3 distinct levels: spiritual, physical, and emotional. As to the timetable, Mr. Lambert would not be specific. However, one of the listeners raised his hand to volunteer the information that he had read that Lord Maitreya was on board the warship at Malta in 1989 and participated in the conference between Presidents Bush and Gorbachev. Mr. Lambert did not deny this, and a thrill went through the truly New Age participants at the thought that this could be true. If this is true, the appearance of Antichrist is very close. Thus, the New Age plan to stage the appearance of the Antichrist may very well be coincide with God's timetable, just as every fundamentalist Bible scholar has always maintained. This concludes my notes on this most interesting seminar. I leave it to you to reach conclusions on the significance of these revelations. However, remember 2 things. Number 1, Bill Lambert admits he is being guided by his guiding spirits, who are telling him many things concerning the immediate future, which is guided by the demons and fallen angels. Number 2, Bill Lambert is a participant in the critical important New Jerusalem Covenant project. The goal of this project is to create a plan by which the Antichrist can solve the Middle East crisis and use this crisis to stage his appearance in the world. I would not be surprised if this group is actually writing the peace treaty covenant which Antichrist will sign with Israel at the proper time. This would then directly fulfill Daniel's prophecy 9:27. So this article confirms that we are at the stage of rapture, right before the revelation of Antichrist. Remember, everything that they say is in reverse. In this article, in the similar, Bill said that the revelation of Antichrist immediately after that is the rapture, which means the rapture happens first. Immediately after that is the revelation of the Antichrist. I hope you guys like this video and information, and I will post part 2 of the New World Order information. Okay, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.